Good evening. Welcome to Timeshare Talks, and my name is John Raymond. I'm a timeshare broker, resale broker, and I'm your host tonight, along with Wayne Robinson, the author of a great book called Everything About Timeshares. And everyone interested in timeshares should be looking at this book. And you'll find the information about it down below in the description, right next to the subscribe button, which we hope you'll punch. And along with us also is Irene Parker, a good friend of mine who's helped a lot of people sell their timeshares. Our guests tonight are Mike Kennedy and James Burbridge, the co-founders of Koala, which is an innovative new timeshare rental platform, and we're excited to hear about what their company has to offer. But first, before I bring them on, I'm looking here behind Irene, and I see it looks like revolving art. And Irene, is that I see Einstein in a pair of tennis shoes? What's that all about?
Oh, yes, that my daughter is an artist and she is the owner of Daredevil Tattoo in the Lower in Chinatown. And this was actually censored because the high school labels children. So Einstein was labeled dyslexic. And there's little people behind this tennis shoe saying, "Hey, we got scholarship too." And she goes by Michelle Miles with a Y, and her husband actually met James and Mike at a restaurant that Mike's affiliated with. And when I was reviewing their website, I guess it's not intentional, but the name of their new koala mascot is Miles with a Y. Yeah, and we're going to be in Brooklyn in a few weeks, so we're hoping to get together once again. So thanks for asking.
Bringing on Mike and James, who would like to be the first to kind of give us an overview of what your company does and how it can help people?
Well, I don't want to follow Einstein, but I guess we will. So yeah, I'm Mike Kennedy, the co-founder and CEO of Koala. James and I started this platform, or this company, I should say, about 3 or 4 years ago, really to solve a fundamental problem that we saw in the timeshare industry. And we really wanted to empower the timeshare owner in a way that we felt hadn't really been done before. And we're doing that initially through a rental platform and then through some other various cool features that we'll be launching throughout the process of the product. So that's a quick overview.
Awesome. And James, how would you like to add to that?
John, thank you very much for the introduction. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey for me. I'm 20 plus years in technology, technologist, and had my hands on a number of startups, but meeting Mike and his sort of tenure or decade spent in the timeshare space, I found it very interesting that the pain point that he was solving. And so Koala's been an amazing journey for me to really build a technology tool, essentially to give control and flexibility back to timeshare owners. And really provide that freedom in the way that they are able to utilize their product, or how it should be at least. So, Mike and I have been on an extraordinary journey to date, and it's only just beginning. And of course, we're fairly new. The platform's less than a year old, so we're obviously very excited to be talking to you about it.
Well, I met you guys, I think about a month or so ago, and I was totally blown away. I think that you guys have an amazing, amazing product to give people. And as you said, it empowers timeshare owners. Well, I'm a timeshare owner and I have a few weeks, and I've experimented with your website, and it's really easy to add my resort, to rent my week out. And I even made some mistakes. Your system found those mistakes. And you have a lot of integrity to find them, because what if somebody would have rented those and they really weren't in place? You guys have done all this work for me, and you haven't charged me a penny. Can you kind of explain your philosophy?
Yeah, it was really important to me that going into this, we had a option or a platform that had no upfront fees. This is not a novel concept where there's kind of a consignment listing. It's obviously the status quo for Airbnb and Vrbo and the other, home rental sites. But for timeshare, it seems to be really focused on taking pretty extensive fees up front. And what that signals to most users is that their job is done once you put that listing up. They've already gotten paid. So where's the incentive for any of those platforms to move anything beyond that to try to move the needle? For us, it was a very simple process of, we know there's really valuable inventory out there, inventory that's valuable and not being utilized to its fullest extent by owners, and they have fees to cover. So let's just create a platform that's super easy for them, trustworthy, and like you said, has integrity. And if we do that right, there'll be plenty of money there. The company will make money. The company is flourishing at this point and seeing growth. So for us, it's not about finding ways to take small fees up front. For us, it's finding ways of building a legitimate, trustworthy brand that is, essentially will be global and will be really there to facilitate help and transparency for these timeshare owners the way they deserve.
Yes. So Irene, I think you had a few questions you wanted to ask Mike and James.
Yeah, my husband and I are getting older, and we've been offloading our timeshares, but we are still able to travel. So I actually, for the first time in 30 years, rented a week from a friend of ours, but we intend to rent from Koala in the future. And I know that Red Week and Tug are very well respected, but you hear these stories of renting and the person, you show up and they're not there, and I don't know if that even happens with them. But if you could just explain a little bit of the difference between Koala and Tug and Red Week for people that maybe like me that have never rented before and are trying to compare your service to theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. So those two platforms in particular are really more listing sites. They, again, there's a small nominal upfront fee, for what you're seeing in the industry. They're very nominal, but at the end of the day, they're really more of a listing site. And that requires, for the most part, these timeshare owners to handle the transactions, do the rental agreements, ensure that what they're putting up there is accurate or even there at all. And that's also up to the traveler to ensure that the person they're renting from is legitimate. And we've done due diligence and done research where there's literally travelers going on Facebook accounts of Red Week listings, trying to find this owner to see if they have photos staying. I mean, it's just not the way the modern traveler wants to make bookings, especially, things that are $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 that they're sending this money in advance. So, I mean, look, again, those marketplaces are very reputable. They've been around for a long time. So this is not the marketplace, but the issue is that the way that they do business invites or opens the door to all sorts of potential problems and or fraud. And I say problems because a lot of the issues that occur that we're finding by verifying all the listings, they're not fraud, they're just mistakes. Wrong check-in dates, wrong resorts, wrong unit types, everything you could possibly imagine. We catch it on a daily basis, as John just told you. And it's one thing to be, quote, defrauded because the listing doesn't exist, but if it's the wrong check-in date or the wrong unit type and you have a family of 5 and it was accidentally a studio, that's still a problem. You still ruin the certification. So, for all of those reasons, we recognize the one thing in timeshare is that unlike Airbnb and Vrbo, we actually have the ability to do a checkpoint and, ensure that what they're checking into is accurate. So why wouldn't we do that? Like, of course we're going to do that. So we really want to kind of create this security. We talk about security before, which is not just from a financial transactional perspective, but also from the type of environment and community that we're stabilizing and creating for both owners and travelers. They know that what they book on Koala, they're going to check into, or we're giving their money back. That's it. Like, there is no room for fraud.
And we interviewed Jessica Burke last week, who's with, she just concentrates in Virginia Beach rentals. And I asked her the same question. Is what I rent from you, is it comparable to what someone would pay in maintenance fees for that year, or more or less? Is that based on the desirability of the property?
That's a great question. And a lot of people so we actually go a different route than telling people to price off their maintenance fees, because that could be erroneous in terms of what the market value is. We really tell people to do some research in the market, figure out what your weeks are worth. If you could find the exact units, sometimes resorts rent those units themselves. Make sure you're below that price, because people rent from owners because it's less money. That's just the nature of it. And if you can't find that exact unit, try to find something comparable. You can use your maintenance fees as a barometer, but that shouldn't be the only thing you price off of. There are some off-season units that I know in the Hilton Grand Vacation Club that I sold with that, they're large units in off seasons, and in many cases, the maintenance fees could be more than what the rental unit would actually earn. So I would caution people to, do some due diligence with that, but a lot of people do it.
But it's based more on what the market share of what comparable units are renting.
It should be. So our owners set their price, right? So we try to give them the tools that they need to make educated choices when they're listing. Just like an Airbnb owner can go on, put a house or a room up and have no idea what it's worth, completely overcharge or completely undercharge. But at the end of the day, it's theirs. We have a team that goes through and does a lot of quality checks, that if we find something that's really well priced, we'll put some little extra marketing behind it. And if it's found something that's really overpriced, we'll contact that owner and say, maybe you want to do some research on this. We're still a relatively small team, so we can't get to everything, but we do our best to ensure that they're optimized.
And my last question is, when I was going through your website, I saw vacation subscribers for $9.99 a month, or $99 a year. And I was interested in what that was about. That sounds like, I like being a part of things. So can you explain a little bit more if that's an option right now for our family?
The answer is, we wanted to see if people like to be part of things. We're not taking any money yet. All we're taking is early signups for free. It's like, we're just trying to get an idea. We know that travel subscriptions are really popular right now. We know we have access to really interesting stuff that we could provide a little more value to some of these subscribing members. It's very low barrier to entry. I mean, we're modeling it like $10 a month, nothing crazy. But, for this, like you said, timeshare owners like that consistency. And I think that we can really provide that. So we're testing with it.
And Wayne, what do you think about all this? You've been in the business for so long, and it's a whole new concept.
Yeah, I'm learning more about this as I talk to these gentlemen. I did want to ask them, who are your primary target audience? Is it timeshare owners or is it travelers?
Yes.
Rich.
The answer is yes. You need both. I'm going to repeat this again because it's important. The other sites that we're talking about that are in this space, they get paid from timeshare owners to list a timeshare. Their job is done. They don't care if it's priced over. They don't care if it's priced under. They already got paid. These are the good ones. The bad ones are scamming these people and doing it. So we need to make sure that this inventory is optimized to move. So in other words, the traveler is just as important as the owner. So when we say optimize, we mean, what are you putting up there? Is it priced well? Because if it's not, we just did all of that work. We got your listing verified. We checked it with the resort. We made sure all of that stuff. If it's not priced right, we did a lot of work for nothing. It is in our best interest to be your partner in this process. I will say, though, it is really the problem that we're focused on is really the timeshare industry, and really creating better tools to help these owners, and not just existing owners, but how do you redefine the category for younger generations that are coming in that, they have more options today than they did even 10 years ago. So how do you kind of mold a product that's going to be more appealing for the next generation of travelers? So that's something that's always on our mind as well. But at the end of the day, we are really building a community for these timeshare owners. We're not immune to this idea that this is just a traveler-facing, product. We really do want to focus a lot of trust and education with these timeshare owners, have a lot of tools and resources for them as well.
Okay, so if somebody's interested in using your service, what steps do they need to take? Obviously, they go to your website. Is it an easy process?
Sorry, repeat the last part. What steps do they need to take as an owner?
As an owner, is it an easy process?
Yeah, I mean, James can, maybe you want to take this one.
Yes, Wayne, we've definitely spent considerable time trying to build a process that is as easy as possible. We do use some terms internally like a 3-step easy listing process or E to Z step process. But technically, if you understand at least what you own and know how to make a reservation, we curate a lot of the resort data, all of the resort data, in fact, and the descriptions, unit types. So when an owner comes into Koala and tries to make that listing, it should, in theory, take less than a minute. It can take up to 2-3 minutes. And if you try to do something like this, in another OTA like Airbnb, typically you would have to collate all of that information, all of the images, the descriptions, the unit amenities, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's a very lengthy process, but we've spent considerable time trying to build that funnel that really allows an owner to come in and hopefully go through that upload process within a matter of minutes.
Can I expand on that real quick? So to James's point, we've already built all the resort data out. So if Resort X, for example, has 6 different unit types and 3 different types of 2 bedrooms, like you said, oceanfront, ocean view, and garden view, we've already categorized all those. So when you go in and you start typing in your resort, it'll recognize it. You click your resort. It then knows all of the unit types available. You select your unit type, and then you just set your dates and your price. It's that easy. And we do have some tools to help you price it as well. But again, it's not an exact science, but it's something that will continue to develop as we get the data in the system.
That's amazing. What a great service.
Is so important is the population of the younger and the older. With timeshares now costing, 30, 40, 50,000, if you're 75 plus, should you be expending that kind of initial outlay? So, your program appeals to that, as well as to the younger people. Instead of getting pulled off the street in Vegas and plunking down 20, 30, 40,000 and you don't even know what a timeshare is, this is a great way to learn what timeshares are about and to do some comparison shopping among the different choices.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I think, it's always something I found interesting. I think Wayne brought this up before, that like their only marketing tool is to kind of like bribe you to sit into a desk for an hour or 2 hours. But like if you just built natural demand for the product, it would be better. People would want to go see it because they're interested in what it is. People, Tesla does not have to bribe you to go see a Tesla. There's a waiting list for Teslas. So like, how do you build a product that people really want and it resonates with you? And while this won't fix everything, it's certainly a step to opening those doors.
Well, guys, I want to have you guys back. I've got more questions, and I think our audience is probably going to come in with some questions in the next 24, 48 hours as they see this show. So let's make a plan to do this in the future. Wayne, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
No, that's about it. I'm going to put them in my book today, so it should go in by tomorrow. I want to make sure people are aware of this, and I will put them on my LinkedIn and start promoting you guys.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Wayne.
Well, and I just want to say that I'm really excited. Next week, we are scheduled to interview Keith Dewhurst from Timeshare Consumer Association, and James is from England, and they are based in the UK. And so we'll be able to introduce Keith to this program as well and open this up to our EU neighbors.
Looking forward.
They're not EU anymore, I think. It's a sensitive topic. Don't bring it up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, this has been a great evening, guys. Thank you all of you for joining us, and we look forward to having you back again. And
seeing everyone.
Just good night to everybody.
Good night, Irene, Wayne. Thank you so much.